Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Looking at a maritime book this morning. This is a book which I found fascinating. It comes from Wiley and Sons, part of the ISTE publication organisation as well. The book is titled Governance of Seas and Oceans. It's part of a series of books, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's been edited by Monaco and Patrick Prouzet. I hope I pronounced the names correctly. Now, my wife Elizabeth and I talked about this book in some detail. We had a good look at it, and I'll show you the book in a minute. It's got some photographs in it too. We've given it a title, Legal Principles Meet Environmental Science in this important new work of research, and that's what it is. It's quite a detailed book, and it's in a series. Now, I'll talk about the book in a minute. Let's have a look at it first. It's a hardback. You can see that. That's the front. Nice picture of an ocean. And it's part of the Oceanographic and Marine Biology series, Seas and Oceans set. You can see it there. Now, the actual spine is there, and then at the back you've got a certain amount of blurb about what's in the book, not very much, then a little bit about the two authors. Let's have a look at the book. It's not a big, heavy book. It's reasonably light. It runs to something approaching 300 pages, just over. It's a very small index at the back. It wasn't as good as I'd like it to be. I like indexes because you can find things a bit quicker. You've got a list of authors who are all included, because this is a book which is an edited version. There are quite a large number of people. I'll just cover all of them there so you see them. I can't mention them all by name, unfortunately. Then there's at the end of each chapter there's a bibliography which links into quite a lot of important information. There is paragraph numbering, which you can see on the side there, to find things quite easily. The index itself deals specifically, when I get to the index, it deals specifically with the actual page numbers. You can see the actual page numbers themselves there, rather than the paragraph number. If we go to the front, though, this is the front page there. As I say, it's part of the Seas and Oceans set from ISTE and Wiley. It's a lovely little book. I found it very interesting to read. Published in 2015. There we go. You've got quite detailed contents at the front, so you should be able to find things quite easily. As I say, it is paragraph numbered. You can see there, and then it's 8 chapters in total, and it names the people who've been responsible for the individual chapters. You can see the names immediately underneath, which gives you some idea. Then there's a foreword. It says, we've been asked by ISTE to stimulate work in the area of the environment. Therefore, we are proud to present Seas and Oceans set of books edited by Monaco and Patrick Prouzet. This is the foreword by the people who are in overall overseeing the actual set itself. So there's a foreword there just explaining what it's about. And then chapter 1, we go straight into it. You've got the bibliography at the back. Sometimes there are some little footnotes, but the bibliography at the back is where of each chapter, not right at the back at the end, but at each chapter you'll find things else. The first chapter is Transformations in International Law of the Sea, Governance of the Space of or Resources. An important point, because this issue won't go away, it's going to be with us, and it's an important area for all of us to be aware of. For instance, I mentioned first of all there are some photographs. For instance, you've got a container ship and you've got an oil platform photographed there, and then you've got some other pictures there. So it's not just a question of the text, but what you do have, as I say, is a lot of detailed work. And for instance, you've got a whole series of publications, not all of them by any means in English, a lot of them are in French, of course, and you do have with each of the chapters a useful introduction at the beginning, just to set the scene. So I think the book is a very important one. The French, of course, have always been very much leaders in this area in some respects. Really, I'll make a passing observation of that in a minute. This is what we say about the book. As there's more water than dry land on this planet, comprising over 70% in fact of the Earth's surface, our seas and oceans should be considered a treasured and fundamentally vulnerable resource. Governance, enlightened and informed governance, that is the driver behind the decision-making processes that lead to sensible management of the marine environment. Now, this book is being recently published by ISTE Ltd and John Wiley as part of their Oceanography and Marine Biology series. And it makes an important contribution, we think, to the literature of environmental law. Now, we could call it maritime law as well, but it is actually environmental because that's the all-embracing figure. It's part of a cross-disciplinary and actually a holistic approach to the conservation of marine spaces and marine resources. And this is an important and will remain a very important issue, of course, on the political agenda and the legal agenda for the years to come. Now, the book contains articles from 18 international and highly qualified contributors from universities and research institutes in France, mainly in Brittany. The exception is Paul Holthus, who hails from the US state of Hawaii. With its variety of individual contributions, the book, if anything, points up the close linkages and overlaps between science, particularly the environmental sciences, and the law. What you could call a symbiotic relationship between scientific and legal disciplines is demonstrated in at least 4 of the book's 8 chapters, and the titles are actually indicative. First chapter, for instance, which I mentioned to you at the beginning, examines transformations in the international law of the sea with reference to marine spaces and marine resources, each explained in detail. Here, the law of the sea is pinpointed as the key to the governance of maritime spaces. Briefly described is the fascinating history of the law of the sea, which had its beginnings in Roman times, and no doubt long before. And it's always been there, it's always going to be there for us in that sense, and I think it's important that we do actually know what the law of the sea is. We've had the international conferences, and I would have thought it's high time that we had another one before too long. However, that's for other people to decide. Let me move on. Chapter 2 discusses the governance of international shipping traffic by maritime law, whilst Chapter 3 introduces the international law on maritime pollution, particularly the pollution caused by ships, which is a key area of concern. Chapter 5 explores the main legal issues emanating from marine renewable energies, for example, the legal complexities which pertain to the installation of offshore wind turbines. Highly controversial, not just in this country, I hasten to add. And of course, we may see a reverse in the next few decades of what's happening as other areas, certainly with tumbling oil prices, other areas for actual energy provision are looked at. So seas and oceans, and there's a difference, continue to deliver almost innumerable commercial and industrial benefits and opportunities, from transport and fishing to international tourism, with a collective value within the world economy that's almost incalculable. And it's significant that the expert contributors to this book have examined these and other aspects of the marine environment primarily from a legal point of view. The result is that oceanographic knowledge, socio-economic analysis and legal principles are brought together in one volume. Environmental lawyers, decision makers in government bodies and opinion formers in the media, as well as students and academics, will find the perspectives offered in this book both enlightening and useful, and in our view. And the publication date is cited at 2015. Let's have a quick look at the book again. Lovely cover, I like the cover. And then you've got the actual spine, and then you've got the back of the book there. Let me just open it up right in the middle. Chapter 3, Marine Pollution, a very important area. It starts off with the introduction again. Marine pollution, whatever its source, has long been an ongoing concern for governments, the public and environmental advocates. Again, a straightforward statement going straight into what this is about, and then coming up again, you can see a lot of usage there of footnotes, a lot of detail, a lot of reference. Not the easiest book in some ways to read, and frankly, it's clear that there probably it was translated, or parts of it were translated from probably French. But I think the book is excellent. I think the series is a very good one. We've only reviewed this particular book, but I hope that that will at least give the reader some idea of what we have on the market for this particular area of environmental law. And good luck to all the people concerned with it. It's, as I've said before, something that's a very important area for us this century. And I hope, actually, more attention will be paid to it. Thank you to all concerned, anyway, for an excellent publication. Bye-bye.